You know, it's really cool, and this is something that a lot of us miss because we don't listen to children. Children don't have a voice until they become an adult. But you have to understand, if you do not allow your child to have a voice, they will never learn how to use their voice. And then when they become an adult, they're so opinionated because no one's ever allowed them to have an opinion. And now you've created a person that does not like to compromise because they finally can say something. And because I'm an adult, you have to do it my way. So you have to make sure that you're not creating a space where we are creating adults who feel like it's my way because they've never had their way. They've never had a voice. So a part of that is why I allow my children, even my 5-year-old, if you go over to YouTube, that's where I post all our content. You get over here, but you get everything over on YouTube as the apple turns. But you'll see my 5-year-old sitting there getting me put together, and I'm just like, okay. Because even though he's filtering it through his 5-year-old filter, he still has valid points. I am still treating him as he feels unjust, and he has a voice, and he has a right to tell me that. And now I can refine my approach, because I do need you to straighten up and act right. You're telling me the way that I'm approaching you is not effective for you. I'm getting some kickback. There is a way to get someone to straighten up and act right and get zero kickback because they understand you, right? So when you get that pushback, it's not defiance. They're saying, yo, the methodology that you're using doesn't vibe for me. And the sooner we allow our children to have that autonomy, the sooner that we are teaching them how to tell people, how to communicate with them. And we are also telling them that people need to be spoken to accordingly, right? Both sides, how they speak to people, how they're spoken to. In relation to my daughter in this particular video, what you're observing is an awareness that I know that my daughter is me 25 years younger, because I'm raising her and I'm feeding into her, and she's filtering through her perception of reality. I understand that she can come to me from her perception, look up at me, filter my life through her lens, and give me advice based off of an untainted, untraumatized, living through different decades than she has perspective. So she's given me a brand new perspective. And so things that I've never actually viewed that way, she can say, you should view it this way. And I'm not going to automatically reject it, because I'm like, you ain't ever been married. You ain't ever raised no kids. Exactly. She's never been tainted by being married. She's never been tainted by raising children. She is completely optimistic. Therefore, she could come to me from a place of possibilities. This is possible, Mom. And I could say, you know what? You're right. It is possible. I just got to figure out how to do it. And if I figure out how to do it, I can now teach you how to do it, because clearly this is something she thinks is possible, and it's also something she thinks that she can apply in her future life. That's why my children are allowed to take positions and roles in the home so that they can practice out their theories. Now, when we first did this, it went crazy. I had the 7-year-old having the 5-year-old hold burpees and, do burpees and hold planks. Like, no, like it went crazy. But, everyone is allowed to have a voice, even though mine's going. Everyone's allowed to have a voice in my house. And because of that, I'm able to learn. I'm able to learn from the 5-year-old, the 7-year-old, the 12-year-old, the 19-year-old. I'm able to learn from my husband. They're all able to learn, and we're all teaching and growing each other, because I'm not 19 today. But I can tell you from my wisdom of what I experienced, what potentially is going to happen based on the scenarios that you're experiencing right now. And so she can now filter that. And because I listen to her, that also opens up a gateway for her willingness to listen to me. So when we're building trust with our children, this is another gateway or another pathway into trust with your children. When you listen to someone, they tend to like to listen to you. You respect them by taking their advice, so they'll respect you by taking their advice. But my daughter also knows that I'm her 25 years her senior. My dad is me 22 years my senior. So my dad can speak into me because I'm his DNA and his legacy. He can speak into me and give me the cheat code based off of his perspective. I don't have to take everything verbatim. That's his experience. But he's dropping gems based off of his awareness, which is my awareness because I am him. My daughter is me. My children are me. Your children are you. So you have to understand that you were birthed those children because they're here to decode you. They're here to give you the cheat code from the youth perspective, from a new, what do they call those? From a new generation. So my daughter's a completely different generation. I'm sitting here talking to these kids. They're like, yeah, old school rap, like, J. Cole. I was like, huh? When I was talking about old school, I was talking about Run DMC and, the Furious, however many there were. That's who I'm talking about. And they're like, nah, old school, not new J. Cole, old J. Cole. I was like, that's still not old school, baby. Do you even know who Run DMC is? They're like, no. I was like, oh, I'm offended. But then another student put it into perspective. He was like, the 1980s to us is like World War II to the 80s babies. I was like, okay, because if you ask me to answer some questions about anything that was happening in that era, I can't. I know some things, but I don't, I've heard, but I didn't experience it. So now when I talk to these children and they don't get this one time at band camp reference, I'm a little less offended because when he put it in that perspective, I was like, okay. Because I'm like, y'all don't understand Bueller. Like my jokes fall flat, y'all, because these kids don't understand what the heck I'm talking about. It's a real interesting thing, but yes, I love it as well. I love that my daughter is able to, all of my children are able to speak into me and help me alter my life because they are the future. I believe the children are the future. Treat them well and let them lead the way. If you do not traumatize a child, they are pure God energy. Raise up a child in the way that they should go. That doesn't mean what y'all been doing. Raise up a child in the way that they should go is allowing a child to have a voice and to speak and to teach you into your highest potential. And you keep growing yourself so that you can always teach your child something. You're always going to be however many years older than your child. I am 25 years older than my oldest child. I am 30 some odd years older than my youngest child. I'm always going to be older. I'm always going to have something to teach them. But if I stop learning, I will not have anything else to teach. Do you understand? That's the difference between wisdom and understanding. Once you understand that you must continue to grow yourself in order to grow your legacy, then you will know your legacy is also growing you because they have fresh, new, untainted, untraumatized perspective.